The second phase of the Madlanga Commission will see the inquiry produce its first report by the 17th of December 2025. Now, the second report is expected in March 2026, and this as the Madlanga Commission has been granted 6 months to complete its work. The inquiry is looking into allegations of political interference within law enforcement agencies and the infiltration of criminal syndicates thereof. And since then, various witnesses have testified, including KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. But for more, let's cross to our SABC News reporter at the Commission, Canny Maphanga. Now, Canny, moving into phase 2, we are, of course, expecting to hear more from those who've been implicated during phase 1. And this should become quite interesting as we head into the coming weeks before the Commission breaks.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Sakina, and to the viewers at home. We expect that the witness that will be taking the stand at 9:30 a.m. this morning is a high-ranking SABC official, a Deputy National Commissioner, that is Lieutenant General Hilda Senthumule. It's difficult to tell whether she forms part of phase 1 or phase 2, but because in the evidence in chief we haven't heard serious adverse allegations being made about her, one can assume that she forms part of phase 1 of the evidence, which is laying the foundation for the kind of problem, if any, that the country is facing with respect to this question of the alleged infiltration of criminal syndicates within our criminal justice system. If that is the case, it means that that report, that prelim report that is expected by the President by the 17th of December, that is in less than 2 weeks, will largely be focused on the evidence in chief. Although the Commission did start phase 2 of its hearings recently, we haven't really heard from many of the implicated persons. It's only really been Brown Mokhotsi, the alleged associate of the police minister, Senthumule, but Senthumule himself, we haven't heard from him with relation to the Hawks evidence that places General Libya, the retired General Libya, at the top of that verification request that sent all of those units to the Katiso Katie Molefe residence or Operation Takedown. We still haven't heard from him. Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibia, we haven't heard from him either. So those critical figures that form part of, I guess, the implicated persons that we expect to appear in phase 2 of the evidence is yet to be heard. So we can assume that if they don't appear next week, that is, that when that report is penned for the President, that is the prelim report, by the 17th of December, as his counsel has mentioned yesterday, then we can expect that it will be largely premised on the evidence in chief and the kind of problem that South Africa could be facing if that evidence points to something serious at this stage. But of course, we'll have to wait for when that report is delivered to see the kind of details that the Commission's bench has highlighted or seen through the evidence so far. We also know that with implicated persons, Brown Mokhotsi's evidence still needs to be completed. So it's highly unlikely that the phase 2 portion will feature quite prominently in that preliminary report. So when Lieutenant General Hilda Senthumule takes the stand this morning, we expect that the evidence will circle back to the PKTT with reference to the dockets, how the dockets were handled, how they were moved from the KZN office to the Pretoria headquarters, and what possible input she can add to that particular discussion where we've heard the allegation that those dockets were moved in order to stall, allegedly, those investigations as they sat there allegedly gathering dust in the Pretoria headquarters when they went there. But all and more at 9:30 a.m. this morning when the witness takes the stand.
Well, thanks so much, Canny, and looking forward once again to hear what comes out of today's testimony.